Hi, I'm Gretel, Customer Success for Comet. In this video, I will walk you through the Comet features that you can use to delete backed up data. Let's get started. To efficiently manage storage space, customers might want to delete backed up data that they no longer need. This can be done with Comet in several ways. By setting a retention policy, which would delete backups that fall outside the set condition, or by deleting a user profile or a storage vault, then activating Constellation role to delete the unused buckets, or by manually deleting snapshots from the storage vault. We will cover all these options in this video. We will also discuss how using S3-compatible object lock will affect data deletion. First, let us go through how to set up retention with Comet. Retention policies tell Comet what data should be kept, for how long, as well as when and what data can be safely removed in order to free up disk space. You can layer several retention rules to cover a wider range of snapshots. You can also set different retention policies per storage vault and per protected item, or as a policy setting across several users. The protected items retention policies will apply over the storage vaults if they are different. It is important to ensure that backups are scheduled to run within the retention range specified. Retention can be configured on the client or on the Comet server. In this video, we will show how to configure retention on the Comet server. First, we will set up retention on the storage vault. Click on User to start. Then access the user you want to configure retention for. Here, click on Storage Vaults. Click on the storage vault that you would like to configure. By default, Comet will keep all backups unless a retention policy is specified. To start configuring a retention policy, click on Change. Click on Only Keep. Click on the plus sign. Here, click on Type to choose a retention condition. These are the different retention types or conditions you can choose from. We recommend layering retention rules to cover a wider range of backups. For best practice, consider setting up a grandfather, father, son retention set to ensure retention of older to newer backups. I will first configure retention to keep my most recent backups. I will set up this policy to keep all backups from the past 2 weeks. Click on Save here. To add another retention setting, click on the plus sign. This time, I will add a policy to keep snapshots a bit further past. I will choose Last X backups, at most 1 per week. In the Backups field, I will specify 8 backups to be kept. This setting will keep the last successful backup from the past 8 weeks. I will now add my third and last retention setting. This time, I will choose the Last X backups, at most 1 per month. With this setting, I will keep the last successful backup of the month for the past 12 months, which ensures that I will have snapshots that can be restored as far back as the past year. I will just save the setting now. I now have my complete retention policy with 3 rules. When setting up retention policies, it is important to ensure that backups are scheduled to meet the retention ranges. As you can see here, I have daily backups running for the protected item that is being stored in this storage vault. Even if a backup is missed, I will retain the last successful backup based on the conditions that I have set. Please check out the guide linked below for a description of all the retention conditions you can configure with Comet. Next, let us have a look at how to set retention for protected items. go to the Protected Items tab. Then click on the protected item to configure. Go to the Retention tab. This is the storage vault where this protected item is being stored. By default, the storage vault retention policy is applied to this protected item. If you would like to apply a different retention policy to this protected item, click on the storage vault and click on Edit. These were the retention rules we configured for this storage vault earlier. You can remove these and configure different rules for this protected item. All other protected items being stored in the storage vault will follow the storage vault's retention policy. Next, let us configure retention as a policy setting. Go to the Policies tab, then go to the Retention tab. Configuring retention conditions under Policy Settings would allow administrators to apply the same retention settings to multiple users. To start, click on Keep All Backups Forever. Click on Only Keep to change the setup as we did earlier. Then click on the plus sign to add a retention condition. Configure your settings here. The retention wizard is the same, and you will find the same retention options that we showed earlier. I will skip the configuration steps as I already showed them earlier. Here are the final retention ranges I have configured. These policy settings will keep one successful backup per month from the past 12 months, as well as the last 3 backups. I only configured 2 retention conditions just to clearly contrast these policy retention settings against the storage vault retention settings that we had configured earlier. We will revisit those settings later. For now, I will save my new retention settings. Now, when I set up a new storage vault, the retention conditions from my policy settings will apply. When we check on the new storage vault settings, we can see that the 2 retention conditions from the policy settings have been applied. Let us have a look at the other storage vault, which was already configured before the policy settings were applied. As you can see, the retention ranges we created earlier still apply. To have policy settings override existing retention ranges, let us go back to the Policies tab. Here, you have the option to enforce the retention conditions in the policy settings to all storage vaults that the policy is applied to. You also have the option to prevent protected items from overriding the storage vault retention policy. This is one of Comet's protective measures against ransomware. So, in case the client software gets compromised, retention settings cannot be changed to keep 0 backups. Any change will have to be done in the policy settings, which can only be accessed on the Comet server. I will tick on both options and save my changes. Now, let us revisit the settings on the first storage vault. As you can see, the earlier retention conditions we configured have been overridden by the policy settings. And it is not possible to change retention here. The policy settings have to be changed instead. Next, we will cover how retention policies apply to object-locked storage vaults. Comet supports S3 object locking, which makes data immutable, meaning it cannot be overwritten or deleted. For more information on how to configure object locking on S3-compatible storage, please check out our full guide below. We also have a video tutorial on how to set this up with Comet. Let us say Comet has done a retention pass based on the retention policy you have applied, and some chunks are up for deletion. With object locking, Comet cannot immediately delete these chunks. Instead, Comet will mark these with a tombstone or with a delete marker. When the object lock period for these chunks lapse, Comet can then remove the unused chunks which have been marked for deletion based on your retention policy. All other chunks which are not marked for deletion will have its object lock period extended. And that is how Comet deletes data in object-locked storage vaults. Next, we will learn about how to delete backed up data using Constellation role. The Constellation role performs maintenance and cleanup of all unused storage buckets across all targets. Simply put, Constellation role spots unused buckets and deletes them. We will go through how to configure Constellation role and targets later. It is important to only enable Constellation role in one server. In order to have Constellation oversee data across all your storage, you should configure the following as targets: all Comet servers, including the server where Constellation is enabled, all storage locations, and tenants, which can be considered as a separate Comet server, so these will have to be added as targets as well. To start configuring Constellation role, go to Settings in the Comet server. Go to the Constellation tab. Add your Constellation role targets here. You have to add all servers as a target, including the one where Constellation is enabled. To do that, just keep these default settings. I will just name this target as my main server and click on Save. Next, I will add my storage template as a target. In case you are unfamiliar with storage templates, please check out the guide linked below for more information. First, I will just rename this target. For the target type, I will choose my storage provider. Here, configure the storage bucket name, access key, and secret key, and click on Save. Last, I will show the steps to add a secondary server as a target. For the connection type, keep Comet server selected and change the address to remote. Then configure the Comet server URL here. Type in your server username and password and hit Save. Once you have configured all targets, you can now enable the Constellation role and click on Save Changes. Once you have Constellation role enabled, the Cluster tab will appear where you can see your bucket usage. Here, you will see all the targets you have configured to be managed by Constellation role. Before turning on data deletion in the Constellation role, it is important to check the cluster report first to see if you have any unused buckets, because turning on data deletion will cause these unused buckets to be deleted. To show your usage report, click on View Last Scan Results or Bucket Users. Here, you will see all the buckets configured in your Constellation targets and the users that they are assigned to, as well as the server where those users are configured. I had deleted the user profile that these buckets were assigned to, so when I turn on data deletion, these buckets will be deleted. Once you have checked the Cluster tab to make sure there are no buckets that may be accidentally deleted, you can turn on data deletion back in the Constellation tab. And those are the steps to configure Constellation role to delete unassigned storage buckets and deleted storage vaults. Please check out the guide linked below for more information on Constellation role. Before we wrap up, let us have a look at the steps to manually delete snapshots from the storage vault. Go to the user profile with the backup snapshot you want to delete and go to the Devices tab. Click on Actions for the device with the backed up snapshot to be deleted. Click on Restore. Make sure you are pointing to the storage vault with the snapshot to delete and click on Next. Here, you will see the snapshots that can be restored. To show all snapshots aside from the latest one, click on Show All. Select the snapshot you want to delete. Click on Actions. Then click on Delete Snapshot. You can check on the Job Status in the Job History tab. And as we can see, the snapshot has been deleted successfully. And that is the end of this video. We walked through the different ways to delete backed up data with Comet to free up storage space, which are by setting up a retention policy, by enabling and correctly configuring Constellation role to delete unused buckets or deleted storage vaults, or by manually deleting snapshots from the storage vault. Please check out the guides linked below for more information on related processes. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.